the journalist that I am, I literally had this, this hourglass. I just saw the little granules of sand going through the hourglass, and I felt like I was literally running out of time.
Journalist and author Monique Williams talks with the Christian Village about her book, Mourning Joy. It's an anthology that weaves together the stories of women who've lost their mothers but found joy and resolution in celebrating their lives.
In November 30th, 2015, it's a day I'll never forget. And prior to her passing away, I was spending those last few days with her in hospice care. And prior to that, in the hospital, because she was in the hospital and then she was transferred to hospice care. While she was in the hospital, she was still lucid and very responsive and was able to talk to me very freely. And so I began asking her a lot of questions. And it was as if I was trying to encapsulate every question I ever had in those few moments because I didn't know how much longer she would be here. And one day she said, "You sure are asking me a lot of questions." And I said, I guess I am. I guess I am, Mom. And in her Southern dialect, she said, "You must be going to write a book."
Williams says it was
And
7 years after the passing of her mother that she heard clear instructions from God that led her back to those questions and also to the stories of other women who lost their mothers.
I was broken, so broken. I didn't know if I was coming or going. Grief gripped me like it had me so bound. I was paralyzed. I was just unsure of everything. I think about it sometimes, and I have to. It's almost like I have to have an out of body experience to kind of jolt myself back into reality. Losing a parent, losing a mom, especially someone you were very close to, really changes the essence of who you are. So I'm saying all of that to provide context because 7 years had passed, and then I started noticing all of my colleagues and associates, friends in our age group, their mothers started passing away. And they started sharing it on social media. And every time that I would see a post like that, it would just hit me all over again. It was almost like I was bearing that burden for and with them. And I remember praying, I said, God, I got to do something with this. This is going to just really take me to a place mentally that I don't really want to go. And I heard him so clearly say to me, tell these women stories. You are a storyteller, you are a journalist. Tell their stories.
After much prayer, Williams says she started making a list of women she would approach and petition from the heart for her to tell their stories.
And that list, of course, was very long. It ended up being 10 women plus myself, 11 stories. As you might imagine, some people really started out in the beginning thinking, oh, this is a great idea. This is going to help so many women. And then they get with themselves and they sit with their feelings to try to pen their stories. And it just became too much. So some of them backed out, which I totally understood. No harm, no foul. I get it. But the 10 who hung in there, we just went with it. We dug really deep. Some scales, fell off. And I think they realized they were healed in some areas and maybe not as much in areas that they thought they were. But they put it all in this little compact book. It's less than 100 pages, but it is power packed with different stories and different remedies and different ideals. And, because the mother daughter dynamic can be very interesting. And I've noticed that even with my daughter, who is now 20 years old. And it was very important to me to include different women from all walks of life. And Alicia, women who had different testimonies about their relationship with their mother, because not everybody had as my pastor says, sunshine and rainbows and cookout milkshakes, experience with their mom. Some people really did not have a good relationship with their mom. And I really felt that I had to include some of those too. The first chapter, as a matter of fact, I don't want to give too much of the book away, but this particular co-contributor was very real and very raw, and relevant about her story. She hated her mother. And she talks about that. And what she ended up telling me was that if her story could help someone not have that kind of interaction with their mom, then it was worth her telling it.
Williams says writing the book not only helped her and her co-contributors, but once published, the broader community, as her book was used as a guide for a Bible study at a local church.
God can use anything, right? He can use anything. He can use anybody. For those of us who know anything about his word, it doesn't take much. And all you need is a willing heart. And I do believe that these stories are inspired by the Holy Spirit. I know these women are praying women. I know that they leaned on God through every aspect of this.
Mourning Joy, Life Lessons from Our Late Mothers is available now on Amazon.